Experts have warned that Britain is facing a shoplifting epidemic that is so widespread that many businesses are actually at risk of closing.
Shoplifting has reached around 525,000 offences across England and Wales in 2025. That's nearly 3 thefts every single minute. In London alone, the number has passed 100,000 cases, marking a rise of over 40% in just 1 year. If you want to understand what's really driving these numbers and why they keep rising, make sure you're subscribed. Outside major stores, tensions are rising fast. Security shutters are being pulled down earlier each day, police sirens echo through shopping districts, and small disturbances break out as shoppers watch shelves being emptied in real time. In a single 24-hour period, branches of Tesco, B&M and Poundland were stripped bare by repeat offenders. Staff say it's happening constantly and that there is no meaningful security in place to protect frightened, intimidated workers. By early evening, the scale becomes impossible to ignore. London now accounts for close to 1/5 of all shoplifting offences nationwide. This is no longer petty theft. These are coordinated crews moving fast, working in teams, stripping shelves in minutes. Witnesses describe lookouts positioned at entrances, runners filling bags, and vehicles waiting outside. Some stores are hit repeatedly, sometimes twice a day. Police describe it as organised retail crime, but on the streets, it feels like something else entirely. A system operating in plain sight, daring anyone to intervene. Later that evening, police announced a major crackdown, one of the largest retail crime operations launched in recent years. More than 110 stores are searched across multiple cities in just days, with officers seizing thousands of stolen phones, luxury goods and cash. Around 30 arrests are made, hidden basements uncovered and back rooms revealed as stockpiles. But within days, most suspects are released and many return straight back to the same streets. The message is unmistakable. Even the biggest operations struggle to slow the machine, and those running it know exactly how far they can go. As the night goes on, the story turns darker. Police records reveal one offender alone committed over 90 shoplifting offences in just a few months, targeting the same stores again and again. Arrested, charged, released, then back the next day. Staff recognised him instantly, and so did the fear. Witnesses describe the pattern clearly. Walk in, fill a bag, threaten staff, walk out. No disguise, no urgency, no concern. In one case, a worker was threatened with a knife over goods worth less than £25. Another was assaulted. Others stepped aside, not because they didn't care, but because they wanted to make it home alive. Security footage shows the same faces returning week after week. One officer later admitted it quietly. They're not afraid anymore. As tensions spill beyond the shops, what began as theft no longer feels contained. And this is where the real damage begins. Retailers across London are now losing an estimated £2 billion a year directly to shoplifting, while another £1.7 billion is being spent on security, cameras, guards, reinforced doors, alarms. In total, retail crime is draining close to £4 billion annually from the economy. A cost passed quietly to shoppers through higher prices, item by item, week by week. As night falls, reports come in of masked groups moving through shopping areas, windows smashed, shutters forced down and alarms left unanswered. In some districts, police arrive late. In others, not at all. Units are overwhelmed, calls stack up, and officers are pulled from incident to incident, prioritising only the most serious threats to life. Elsewhere, shops are left exposed. One owner describes spending nearly £90,000 on security after repeated break-ins. Yet theft continued. It's not about stopping crime anymore, he says. It's about surviving it. Many don't. Independent shops already operating on razor-thin margins begin to disappear. They can't afford guards and they can't absorb repeated losses. When windows are smashed and shelves stripped, they close permanently. And it's no longer limited to small, independent shops. Major retail chains are now warning of severe financial strain as rising theft losses, soaring security costs and falling foot traffic push even well-known brands toward restructuring, mass store closures or collapse. For some, this isn't about shrinking profits anymore. It's about survival. Outside, tensions spill over as crowds gather, phones are raised, and masked figures move through shuttered streets. What began as theft now resembles unrest. Police lines thin, control slips, and anger turns upward. Protesters gather, accusing the government of losing control of the streets. There is no immediate response, no statement, only silence. The numbers tell the rest of the story. In 2023, more than 10,000 shops closed. In 2024, nearly 13,000 followed. In 2025, closures are projected to exceed 16,000, most of them independent. These aren't just shops disappearing, they are jobs, local services, and community lifelines. As they vanish, streets grow darker, foot traffic fades, and remaining businesses become easier targets. Retail leaders warn, this is no longer just an economic issue, it is a social one. What worries many retailers most is what comes next. Not tonight, not this week. But the longer-term shift already taking shape. As stores close and foot traffic disappears, entire areas begin to change. High streets that once supported cafes, pharmacies and essential services start to hollow out. Vacant units that remain empty for months, sometimes years, attracting vandalism, illegal activity and further disorder. Insurance premiums rise sharply and some providers refuse cover altogether in high-risk postcodes. For remaining businesses, this becomes another cost they cannot absorb. Without insurance, a single break-in can end years of work overnight. As legitimate businesses withdraw, the presence of authority weakens further. Fewer staff, fewer customers, fewer eyes on the street. Local councils warn that once this tipping point is reached, recovery becomes extremely difficult, investment dries up. New businesses avoid the area, property values stagnate or fall. Residents adapt by travelling elsewhere, accelerating the decline. What began as retail crime quietly reshapes neighbourhoods, turning once functional town centres into spaces people actively avoid. This is not a temporary shock, it is a structural shift. And without decisive intervention, it becomes self-sustaining. This is no longer just about crime inside stores. It's about what happens when those stores disappear. Family-run shops, corner stores, pharmacies, news agents. By night's end, many high streets are all red dark. Shutters come down, foot traffic fades, and once busy shopping areas begin to feel abandoned, reinforcing the cycle of decline retailers now warn about. One shopkeeper put it simply, I wasn't beaten by competition, I was beaten by crime. When shops close, jobs vanish, communities unravel, and empty units replace everyday life, bringing more crime with them. This is the cost that never appears in official statistics, the slow disappearance of normal life. And as another row of shutters comes down, the question grows louder. How many more streets must go dark before something finally changes? This is not a failure of shop workers, and it is not a failure of communities. It is a failure of the system itself, a system that delays consequences, recycles repeat offenders, and treats enforcement as optional. When arrest no longer leads to removal, law stops deterring behaviour and becomes background noise. This outcome was not accidental. It was built decision by decision, delay by delay. And when a system reaches this point, crime is no longer a shock. It is the predictable result. If this is happening where you live, you're not alone. Share what you're seeing and stay with us for what comes next.